Welcome to Share Talk, the only podcast where investors come first.
Today we have Jay Abbott, who's the Executive Director of Falanx Group. Falanx Group are experienced in protecting businesses against global security threats and they're listed on the AIM market. Good afternoon, Jay. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you, Rob. How are you?
I'm not too bad, thanks. Do you want to give a bit more insight into your company then, the background behind it?
Yeah, absolutely. So Falanx as a group has a couple of main divisions. We have an intelligence division that does geopolitical and business risk for and on behalf of some very, very large brands around the world. And we also have our cyber division, which I am the MD of. So the cyber division is based around the concept, very simply, of working in partnership with our clients on their end-to-end life cycle, trying to understand the whole cybersecurity issue as it pertains to them, and then helping them build more robust and secure network systems and controls so that we can ensure that they have the best opportunity to do what they do, which is actually run their businesses and make money and not have to worry about all this cyber stuff.
Okay, so you try to make their lives easier with the security side, coming in as a consultancy, I guess, and saying where they can improve or, which areas are at risk.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's sort of four strands to what we do. We call it sort of the assess, consult, monitor, and respond model. It's not an unfamiliar model if you've been in or around technology and security for many years. But fundamentally, we've got services aligned to all four areas. So services in the assess space allow us to understand what the issues are for the client, build the threat and risk scenario, test their systems for security weaknesses, and help them really, draw a line in the sand and figure out where they are. And then consulting allows us to, work with them to actually improve that position, to improve that control architecture, to improve the governance. And then we move on to monitoring, where we can deploy our proprietary Midgard monitoring technology, which is part of our managed detection and response service portfolio, which allows us to see advanced threats within their network, monitor that from our 24/7 365 SOC up in Birmingham, and react instantly when threats occur. And then that feeds into the final part of the equation, the response category. So when threats do occur, we're not kind of phoning you up and going, do you know what, guys, bit of a problem, enjoy.
Yeah.
We're actually going...
You're being a bit more proactive.
Exactly.
Okay.
We've started mitigating the issue for you, and the guys are in the back of a car, and they're on their way to your office now. We'll see you in 10.
Wow.
It's the full end-to-end service.
Yeah. And I suppose with what happened with the NHS recently in the news, this cybersecurity wasn't something that a lot of people knew about or understood what was happening. And now in the news, more and more we get in these events like the NHS. Has this had an impact for your company, as in more business being generated for you?
Yeah, it's interesting because with large-scale attacks like the one that the NHS and the rest of the world suffer, the WannaCry attack with the WannaCry malware, what those events tend to do is become a catalyst to awareness more than anything. It's not like most people assume that our phone was ringing off the hook throughout the whole exercise.
Yeah.
And while our clients were phoning us up and going, is there a problem? And we're saying, actually, no, you're covered, or no, yes, there is a problem, depending on the client. And we have large-scale NHS clients that we were engaged with throughout that weekend, advising them. It's more of those sort of issues are more of an IT response. It's more sort of the operational IT organization within the affected entity that ends up being the one that's sort of, standing up and burning the midnight oil. Where what we find is it's very great at creating awareness so that we can come in afterwards and actually advise them on how it's not happening again. Because again, with these issues, cleaning up is actually the wrong place to be. You want to be preventing as much as you can.
That's absolutely true. It's becoming more and more apparent that companies need this kind of business. And, and then the services from what you're describing, you're going into, it's not just the consulting side of it, it's actually being more proactive. You've got quite a few big clients. I think Nokia is one of them, for example, that you work with. Going forward, are you building up big relationships with these companies?
Yeah, so, the interesting thing about cyber is that it's not a big company issue. It's an everyone issue. And that's where we're seeing the change, because actually, large corporations have been managing this for some years. They've understood it. They've known there's been a problem. There's been regulation that's been relevant to them. In the government and this financial services space, it's a known entity. There's budgets, there's allocation, there's staff. It's a thing, yeah. But actually, in the mid tier and the SME market, it's becoming news, something new to them. So a large proportion of the world's businesses sits outside of that enterprise level, and they're the ones that are feeling the pain at the minute. And some of our best clients are actually in the mid tier space, because we're not like every other vendor that's out there working with working with enterprise or working with government, where you're one vendor on a panel of 10 and you're essentially getting workload balanced across all of the vendors because there's so much to do. We're actually able to forge real relationships with these clients, real sort of symbiotic, hand in hand, sitting almost on their board meetings in some occasions and advising the board directly and taking them on a journey and staying on that journey for the whole period, multi-year engagements. These are the relationships that I see as being far more interesting, far more valuable, because they are long-term partnerships, and those partnerships do encourage a continued working relationship, as opposed to a supplier rotation you'd find in the enterprise or the government space. So we're seeing a lot more traction in mid-tier than any other tier, to be honest. And SME is that sort of next level down, where a little bit more work is required in the educational piece to get them to understand what the problem is. But we've got products and portfolio that fit in that space that plays at scale, which is just absolutely perfect for the UK market right now.
Okay. Do you feel you're ready to actually fulfill that growth?
Absolutely. Just a little bit of history. So about a year ago, in fact, on May the 4th, which if you're a geek, you'll appreciate.
Yeah, everyone.
I signed the deal to sell my company, Advanced Security Consulting, which was something I'd set up when I left PricewaterhouseCoopers. I built a consulting organization. And I ran that for a few years, and then I sold it to Falanx. And what Falanx had was their cyber division at that time was this monitoring division that sort of had some good, solid government contracts, some good skills and experience, a good bunch of people in there. And what we've been doing for the last year has been a foundational change within the cyber organization. I've come in, I've fully integrated my own consulting business. We've built out these 4 lines of service. We've put in heads of on those lines of service that are building out solid, credible teams underneath them. We've developed a sales capability and built that out. We've really invested in building a strong and, I guess I don't want to use the term strong and stable, but, we've built a great foundation for what will be future growth within the organization. And that's been fundamental to this first transitional year. We are literally only just into what would be the second financial year since me coming on board. We've already, done what we wanted to do in terms of restructuring and improving, but now we're really on the cusp of being able to sort of leap forward at much greater pace.
So effectively, you've got your business model nailed down. You know what you're going to do there. You've got your lessons learned that you've spent, like you said, the last year putting yourselves in this position. So, in terms of obviously being ready for the growth, do you have anything coming through? I mean, obviously, I don't want to talk about anything that could be share sensitive in a way, but anything, contract-wise and stuff like that coming towards your door? People who are knocking on it now? Or
Well, no. I mean, obviously, we can't talk about anything specifically contractual, but what I can say is, the company now has a sales division that's staffed with a lot of experienced people from the cyber industry. We have an outbound capability we've never had before. We are bringing on new clients that wouldn't have known our name, and they have been sort of actively sought by us and brought in, and they've liked what they've seen. So, we've really changed the environment in terms of our ability to bring in revenue. And that's been fundamental to the last year, actually changing the way in which we're able to go and get that revenue, because that was missing from before. So that's a real big change, and that's a real big sort of foundational leap for the future. As with anything, takes time, can't predict it. Would love to be able to. It'd make my life so much easier in a board.
I can imagine so. All right. I mean, for anyone who's looking to invest, and they're looking at technology and they're looking at your company, what would be the zinger? What would you say to them? Why they should choose you over any of your competitors?
Yeah, so I guess we do have a bit of a zinger, which is something that I sort of started bringing to the fore when I joined about a year ago, which was we started building out our core technology platform. We started building something that we call Midgard, which is Greek mythology or Nordic mythology, sorry, and is, the seventh realm if you know your that side of life. Now, what Midgard is 100% UK-based proprietary technology based around core open source technologies that gives us an advanced threat detection platform to be up there with the big boys. And what I mean by that is this is, proper next generation technology. It's completely unique. We have no licensing costs around it. There's no external influences on it. It's our tech, our direction. We can take it where we want our clients to be and deliver the best service. That sets us apart from a pure service organization because we actually have a software development capability. We are developing our own IP, so we're a product company as well as a service company, but it's all closely integrated and brought into a singular end-to-end vision. So we're not building a product to sell, we're building a product to support our service delivery to our clients. This is unique as far as I can tell in the space. Everyone else that offers monitoring is using a Splunk or a Logarithm or an IBM QRadar. We're not. We're using our own tech, and it's better than all of them. I have to say that, of course.
Of course, absolutely. But I think, my background is IT, and I know certainly it does make your life a lot easier if you're actually working with your own IP stuff than, trying to use other companies' products. To me, that does sound quite a difference from, your normal expecting you to just go in and be a consultancy, or you'll just try and provide solutions to these companies. Jay, this has been really good and helpful. And for those who are looking to invest in them, the ticker is FLX on the AIM market. Jay, thank you for your time.
No problem at all. Thank you very much.
Thank you for listening. Remember to visit our website for more news and other podcasts at www.share-talk.com.